Hello everyone, welcome to the IB What's Going On podcast. I'm Aeden and my subject combination is higher level physics, chemistry and maths, and standard level language, literature, Chinese B and history. Some call me basic, but I added a little spice into my subject combi, you know. Got history.
Yes, history.
It's very nice. And because we all know history is superior.
Not true.
Wow, straight up, eh. Anyway, I was from SJI secondary. I was from the IP, and I got here on an express path. I didn't take O levels like some of these losers. And because I'm not basic, I got a super fun fact for all of you. Did you know a cockroach's brain is in its body? Maybe that's why Greg is so smart.
Hi, I'm Gregory. My subject combination is high level Geog, Chem and Econs, aka GCE. I took chemistry because you and I, we have chemistry. For standard level, I took Lang Lit, Chinese B and mathematics. I have the best subject combination out of the three of us because I took geography.
That's fake.
There are only 20 of us in geography. It's such a unique combination, and I think only us higher level individuals can take it.
Maybe there's a reason why there's 20 people in geography.
Yeah.
I'm from SGI OP and I came back to SGI IB using the DSA program. I was in the drama club CCA during secondary school, and that's how you can tell I'm a drama queen. Being the most unique and interesting person in this room, I have a fun fact for you. Aeden is so smart. His grades have consistently been first in the level from the bottom. Wow!
Thank you.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Arielle and my subject combi is HL Bio, Chem and Econs, and SL's Language, Chinese and Maths. It's a very basic and common combi.
I agree.
Basic.
I was from Methodist Girls' School and I took O levels. And also, you guys should stand tomorrow by together because their music is bomb. Okay, let's go.
What's that?
What's K-pop?
Yeah,
Sorry, I only know studies and IB.
same.
I got no life
That's my
outside
life.
IB.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll just this is the first episode, so welcome. I hope you all are not bored yet. But I think we'll try to make this as interesting as we possibly can. I don't know how interesting we can make it, but we'll try our best.
You're very boring, stop talking.
Okay, so intro to IB. So in IB we have 6 subject groups consisting of languages.
Group 1. Group
one.
2 is mathematics.
Yes.
Group 3
Group
is...
2 is not mathematics.
What is group 2?
Group 2 is language and inquisition.
Then what's the
Yeah.
group 1?
Group 1 is language and literature.
Language
Oh.
studies.
Language studies.
So group 1 is language, for example, literature and English, or literature alone. Group 2 is language acquisition, which is all of your extra, your second languages like Spanish, Hindi, Tamil, Chinese. Group 3 is mathematics, so you
No,
have...
group 3 is individuals and societies, which is
What?
consisting of
It's your
history, geography,
humanities.
and
you see.
literature.
Literature
No,
is
sorry.
not
History,
Literature.
geography, and econs, and business management, and that's what the 2 main IB schools in Singapore offer. And then for group 4, we have sciences, which is bio, chem, and physics.
Oh, you forget the last one.
Cause I don't take physics. And
Damn.
physics. Bio is
Physics,
better than
bro.
physics.
You're so lame.
Anyways, so then the 5th group is the mathematics, which is either HL math or SL math. That's
But there are
the
2 types of
only-
mathematics. There's math, analysis and approaches, and math, application and interpretation. But IB schools in Singapore only seem to care about one. I don't know why, but
And it's the harder one.
it is the harder one. It's the one with the lower 7 rate.
Okay, and then the last group is the arts, which is mainly visual arts and music. Yes.
There's also theatre and dance.
So the way that our subject groups work is we need to have one subject from every single group, except for our last 6 subjects, we can choose to be from either individual societies or from sciences. So you can have, for example, you can add an extra econs, an extra history, physics, whatever subject you wish.
Extra history.
Yeah, extra history. History is extra. Nobody takes history.
But it cannot be the same subject that you chose from that group.
You can't take double history.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't take double
history and
subjects.
history.
That's so weird.
You can't take double subjects. I think that's obvious enough.
No, some people don't know.
Now
Stop making
you know.
assumptions.
Now you know.
Just stop interrupting, are you?
Okay, anyway.
Anyways, so other than these subjects, there are also 3 other components in the IB program, which are CAS, which is creativity, activity, and service. So basically, you have to, for SGI, you have to fulfill 50 hours for each strand, but for ACSI, you have to just fulfill experiences. So each experience has to be at least 2 weeks. And then for...
Okay, I think we need to explain
Yes.
what strand is.
Okay, strand. So creativity is 1 strand, activity is 1 strand, and service is 1 strand. So creativity is things like
For example, picking up a new instrument, picking up a new language, learning how to do a podcast, making video editing, 3D modeling.
That's us.
and then activity is like sports basically. Like you can run outside by yourself or you can join a sports CCA like basketball, badminton, and things like that.
Or you can go hiking.
Yeah, you can
So
go hiking.
for CAS, we have a differentiation. There's something called self-initiated and school program CASs. For example, self-initiated CAS would be like, I set a schedule. I would like to run 50 hours in my total
You're
CAS
crazy.
experience. And after I'll split it up into 1 hour of running every week. And I'll set goals, and after I'll say my justification. For example, I'm really unfit, so I want to get fitter. That is my goal, and I'm going to do 50 hours of that. That is what you call a self-initiated CAS. For a school-based CAS, it will be something like joining frisbee or soccer, where it's in an official school setting with all of your peers doing together.
Okay, then the final strand is service, which is basically like what you have in secondary school, like LEAPs. Like you do like VIA projects. Yeah. So it can be anything. You can like volunteer at like
You can
an
volunteer at
animal
an old folks
shelter.
home, animal shelter, picking up litter.
Yeah. So that is what CAS is about. Our next component is TOK, which is theory of knowledge.
So, theory of knowledge. What's the best way I can put this? It is questioning how you know what you know.
As you go through life, you'll acquire a bunch of knowledge, but we want to question the validity of that knowledge. For example, when I look at something, how do I know that what I look at is the correct interpretation? TOK is quite an abstract topic that people will struggle with in the beginning, but as you move along the years, months really, you will start to pick it up and you'll begin to understand how exactly you're supposed to do TOK.
So that's basically what TOK is. But some people like to make the comparison that TOK is philosophy. Even though it has some elements of philosophy, I don't think we're that smart to actually do philosophy as a subject.
Okay. Then, so the third component outside of subject groups is EE, which is your extended essay. It's 4,000 words, except for Chinese, which is 4,800 words. And yeah, basically you just choose one of your subjects to do an essay about. Yes.
Yes. So let's say I take my subject combination. I cannot do a geography EE, even though that sounds horrendous.
Yes.
Greg. But yeah, so you have to take when you're choosing your EE, you have to choose a subject that you actually take. If not, it'll be quite counterintuitive because you chose your subject combination for a reason. So that's another important thing that we will go into, your subject combination. But that comes in later, right, guys?
Generally, EE is basically like a research paper based on your interest. So for example, I take chemistry, and because I have iron deficiency anemia, I can do my EE on the iron content of different foods. So throughout my EE, I'll basically be testing different foods, seeing how much iron there is inside and reporting on it, showing how I found out this information, and trying to prove whether this information is valid or whether it has flaws in it. So that will basically be what your EE is about.
But that's for a science EE.
That's for science EE.
So if let's say I want to do a humanities EE, I'll use history, for example, because I take history and history is awesome. But anyway, if you want to do like a history essay, one of the example questions they actually gave us was the Korean War a proxy war or a civil war? I know it sounds quite easy, but basically the teacher broke it down and she went into detail on what you actually have to do for this history EE. So basically, what the history EE requires is a very big segment on analysis of your sources, because you know it's history and you need sources. It's very similar to a history research essay. So yeah, it's basically, EE is basically a research essay, but it varies on whatever subject you choose to do. Like let's say I want to do, okay, I'm breaking away from history. Let's say I want to do a literature EE. For a literature EE, there are 3 categories. There is category 1, which is where you do a literature EE on a book or a literary work or literary text. So then you will have to formulate your own question and you have to answer your own question with like evidences.
Okay, so lastly, there was one thing I forgot to mention. IA, internal assessment. So basically you have that for all of your subjects. And it's kind of like, okay, for sciences, it's similar to your EE, but just less complicated.
Some subjects don't really have an IA. They have something called an IO, which is oral, because you know we can't be expected to write a research essay for literature. So as a normal student, because you know it's literature, who likes literature? Anyway, so some subjects have something called IO. So language and literature subjects have IO, and this IO is basically you use the text that you already know and you go and give a speech on how it relates in a global context. I think we can break this down later on, but that's like a brief overview of what a Group 1 IO does. But if we look at Group 2 IO, it's basically your normal kosher. You know, if you go O-levels, it'll be your normal O-level oral. But at the start, you'll have to give, it's similar to the higher level O-level oral, where you have to give like a speech before, but this speech will be based on a picture, so it's not as complicated as O-levels, where you have a video, so it's easier. But that's then after you give this speech, you'll be asked questions. So yeah, it's basically like O-level oral. It's quite similar in that way. So yay. But that's just a very, 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 very brief overview of what IO is. And for humanities IA?
We'll talk about it when we reach the next episode.
Sure.
So Aeden, our resident mugger, how has the IB experience been for you so far?
Wow, IB, it's tough. It's very, very tough. But then again, A-levels is also tough. You just have to choose which one is more fitted for you. As like, okay, IB has a very big emphasis on project work, because 20% of your overall grade is going to go to your IA, which most of the time is a project or an oral. But yeah, so it really depends on what kind of student you are. So A-levels is a very heavy emphasis on exams.
PWs and exams.
Yeah, PWs and exams. Well, IB is more of like individual subject, got project and exam.
I think we need to make something clear. When we talk about projects in IB, it's called IA, which is individual assessment. So you don't have to worry about group mates and whatnot. It's more so seeing, like, they'll give you a set deadline and amount of time. How well can you research and present your findings within that certain amount of time? So it's like IB, if you think that you have the ability to do your own research, do your own independent thinking, and after that to be able to present in the future at a level that you're satisfied with and not actually guided by a specific set guidelines, unlike A-levels, IB should be a better study track for you.
Yep, I would say so. Okay, but how has the IB experience been? I mean, I guess it's different because it's not a very big drift from what you're normally used to with like O-levels, right? I think you can speak about that.
Arielle?
Yeah, okay. Like, so I came from O-levels, right? So I chose IB because it was very honestly, it was because I heard from other people that the bell curve was easier since you compete against other people. But so far, IB has, yeah, it has been quite tough. But like, I have been adjusting quite well because all the teachers are nice, all the people are nice, and yes, and then also IB, yeah, it's quite different from like how you study for O levels. It's like, how to say,
You have to be consistent.
Yeah, you have to be consistent.
yes.
I think one key difference between IB and O levels is O levels you were given like a very structured way of learning. So we'll teach you content by content, chapter by chapter, one skill to another. But IB is more so, they tell you, let's say we have this assignment and this is the end product we want you to get. These are some tools to help you get there, and I want you to figure out to learn how to get there yourself. So that is one massive drawback about IB that I learned after coming here. It's like you don't have to worry about doing well instantly. It's more so about the learning process and discovering new techniques and skills to go and teach you in the future how to be able to, in any situation, to be able to help yourself and do well.
I think talking about like work in IB, you have to really take note that the jump from O level to like JC in general is very big. Like if you're scoring consistent A's in O levels, right, it doesn't mean you'll be scoring consistent. Okay, in IB the grading system is like, it's by numbers because we're quirky. So like a grade 1 would be not very good. A pass would be a grade 4. So then the highest grade you can get is a 7. So we all like the number 7. So anyway, if you get consistent A's in O levels, it doesn't mean you'll be a 45 pointer, which is like the best score you can get in the IB exam, or a 40, or even like getting 7s consistently in all your subjects. Because the jump is really quite huge. And even so, you have a lot of, let's say for a science, you have a lot of reports that can really pull down your score if you're an O-level student, because you know O-levels has a very big emphasis on like exams and like tests and questions. So yeah. But I think we can talk about how lessons are actually conducted during the program. So like, I think it follows sort of an American high school style thing, you know, you watch in those TV shows,
You walk from one
yeah,
class
you walk
to
from
another
one class to
class. Yeah.
But the problem with us is SGI has 6 stories, or like our school has 6 stories.
Yes.
And I think Arielle has a bio lesson, can have a bio lesson on level 1 and have to walk all the way up to level 6 for a lit lesson.
Yes.
So it really is like, you get a lot of cardio workout, I have to
Yes.
say. So, and we always joke around that we should get activity hours for it, but nah. Anyway, so like the lessons, okay, but the lessons itself, it's not very different, but I think a change would be there's a very big emphasis on discussion, right? So you discuss more. Let's say for humanities, you discuss about, the teacher will give you a question and you're supposed to discuss with your friends on how to answer the question. But she doesn't give you a straight answer. So you really have to formulate your own answer to what she wants you to learn. That sort of thing. And even for like language and literature, it's not really that like textbook kind of way where they like tell you what to do when you see a text. No, usually the teacher wants you to learn on your own, which is really where the independent aspect comes in. So if you don't think you're able to cope with the ability of independent learning, then you might want to reconsider coming into this program, because there's really a very big emphasis on that. And yeah, we really want y'all to be able to cope.
Yes, but IB has, like everyone here, they have a very good support system. So yes, so even if you don't think you're very good at being independent like me, so yeah, you have a lot of other people to rely on. Like since we have the same teacher for language, I can go to him and ask him for help.
She keeps asking me questions.
Yes, I do.
It's okay that my ship is sinking because yours is also.
Also, side note, I did not take lit in Sec 3 and Sec 4. So this shows that even if you didn't take lit, you can still come to IB.
But are you struggling though?
No, I'm not. Yay!
Will you get a
Wow.
7 for lit?
Hopefully.
honestly, right, it just comes down to how hard you work, lah.
Yeah. You really have to put in a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone has to put a lot of effort.
Everybody has to put in a lot of effort. And it's not just limited to IB also. Actually, one key difference between IB and A levels is that it's more so like our teacher will give us a question, we have to go home to research, and after the next day we bring our materials to class for discussion. But A levels is like you'll have a bunch of pre-recorded lectures that you have to watch at home as part of your homework. And the next day you'll come to class under the assumption that you've already watched the lectures and you'll be taught on all of those materials. So if you go to A level, you do have to use a bunch of independent learning and make sure that you manage your time well so that you don't lag behind. And so you also need a lot of independent learning for IB.
Yeah.
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 Both are just equally hard. If you can't put in the effort, I don't think you should come to JC.
There's always poly.
There's always poly and ITE.
No.
A normal day of an IB student. How would you say that goes?
Wake up, dread coming to school, come to school, drag myself home, fall asleep. Rinse and repeat.
No lah, not that boring lah. I feel like, okay, some days can be interesting. Like, okay, I think the only reason that I keep going to school now is because of all the friends that you have, right?
Yes.
Like when Arielle talked about the support system, it really comes down to your support system. But in IB, everyone is suffering, so everyone suffers together. Yeah. And if you ask for help, right, they will definitely help you. Because, you know, we're all suffering together. We can all cry together. But yeah, I think everyone's suffering everywhere. So even in A levels, I'm pretty sure they're quite stressed.
They're quite stressed.
Yeah, they're quite stressed. So I think a normal day in my timetable would be I'll have a first lesson, then I'll have a break. This break, I think we all have a break. This break will be 40 minutes. Then afterwards you have 3 hours of lesson. Then you have lunch. Then afterwards, it depends on what day it is. Our earliest day that we end is 2:30. Yeah, 2:30. And then sometimes it can extend to 5:30.
5:30.
But a good thing about coming to IB is that you get free periods. So let's say on Wednesday we end at 3:30, but we have free periods in between.
I have 3 hours worth of free periods.
Yeah, you have 3 hours worth of free periods. So but during those free periods you can't leave the school lah, of course. You have to stay in school, but you can study. So I don't know, seems like a nice break, right?
It really comes down to how you utilize your time lah. Especially next year when we start reaching IA deadlines and we need to submit all of our project works. Those free periods will really be a godsend for us. We'll use all of it to mark and to study.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And another thing would be that I think if you think you don't have very good time management skills, but you come into this program, you'll be forced to have good time management skills. It's really like you really have to manage your time properly.
It forces you to adapt.
Yeah, it really forces you to manage your time properly, especially if you're signing up for like big CASs like the student council.
Student council. Oh,
Yeah, you'll have a lot of responsibilities. And if you're signing up for extracurriculars like research programs and whatnot, because you know you'll probably have the chance to, then you not only have to juggle your schoolwork, you not only have to juggle your CASs, you have to juggle your extracurriculars also.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll talk about my experience. So at the start of JC, I had an extracurricular called the Overseas Student Attachment Program. We didn't actually get it. We didn't actually get into the program, but we were in the registration process. So while my friends were having fun in OC, I had to stay back after OC in school until 7:30 with a teacher just to practice on an interview that I was going to have for this program. And then not only did I have to do that, there were other research programs that the teacher asked me to sign up for. And I wouldn't say guilt trip, but he basically recommended me to do so, and I felt very bad if I didn't. Plus, it was a good experience signing up, and also it will be a good experience if we get in, right? So, you know, you have to fluff up the portfolio, and so yeah, I had not only had to sign up for things, I had to prepare for things. Then I had school work because you know the first week of JC you get hit with a lot of work for some reason, and then afterwards you have lessons. I think Arielle can speak for me when it said I wanted to cry. Every morning when I come into school, there was no light in my eyes. And for the first like week of lessons at least. So yeah, but I really say I have to come out from the experience stronger, because I really learned how to like manage your time. But even though you have to learn how to manage your time, right, I think it's very good that you have to learn how to take breaks for yourself also. Like let's say I go home and I don't really feel like doing anything, but I don't have any like very 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 urgent deadlines. Then you just take a break. It's okay. But of course, you should know how long your break should be, right?
Yes. And yeah, currently I'm like kind of like staying back almost every day, and the day that I don't stay back, the one day that I don't stay back, I have tuition. So right, yes.
Don't cry.
We're here for you.
Yeah, I can understand. Like time management is really very important. My time management during O's was like very, very, very bad. So now, yeah, like what Aeden said, I am being forced to learn how to manage my time properly. And yeah, so this is a way that IB helps you to grow in non-academic ways, and this will be very beneficial for you in the future.
Okay, I would say yeah, that's true. So the IB program prepares you for the future, because I think one thing that A-level doesn't really do is give you like how teachers teach you how to research on things. And usually all these A-level students, when they go into university, then they learn how to research on things. So all the IB students actually have this like edge over them when they are in university. So yeah, it's either you start now or you start suffering later. It's up to you. Start earlier lah. It's okay. You remember more at such a young age. Am I right? So how would you say IB has been?
Okay.
Summarize.
Summarize.
Yeah.
IB is really easy for me because I actually like record down all of the tasks I need to do, and I actually use appropriate time to go and use two of them. For example, during my breaks, I finish up all my homework. So when I go home, I can actually spend all of my time relaxing, at least for the start of IB, before all of the workload starts kicking in for me. Because I have such a unique subject combination, I'm not flooded with a bunch of assignments yet. But when it comes around to next year, I will not have any light in my eyes anymore. I mean, the first few weeks, you guys were doing homework while I was hanging out basically every single week, getting close to my TG mates.
Hey, that's not true. We went to the library.
You went to the library. I went to library, then escape room. We went to the same library to study together, but I left earlier because I am actually more efficient at doing work.
So now, I'll say the IB experience so far has been pretty tough, but you'll get through it. I mean, so many IB students graduate every year. Singapore having like the top IB scores in like the world. So if you come here, you'll be in good hands. All the teachers are nice. They will help you if you ask. But the keyword here is you have to ask. So yeah,
They won't spoon feed you anymore like O levels.
Yeah.
So you have to do everything yourself.
Consultation is your best friend.
Yeah,
Yes.
Consultation is your best friend. So I hope you all enjoyed this first sort of intro episode. I don't know how confusing it may be, but if you really have any questions, you can just comment. Because honestly, I don't know how confusing this entire process was.
If you feel like this episode is confusing, it's because IB is confusing.
That's true. IB is a tangled web. But okay, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you like,
Share.
Comment and subscribe.
yeah!
This podcast was brought to you by the IB What's Going On team composed of Aeden, Gregory, Arielle, Ethan, Darren, and Heather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.